All right, question 3. In the figure above, line L and M are parallel, and line S and T are parallel. Right? If the measure of angle 1 is 35 degrees, what is the measure of angle 2? Yeah, let's just go and label this angle 1 at 35 degrees. That they told us that. Okay, and we're solving for this angle right here. That's angle 2. Okay, so what we have here are two sets of parallel lines. Okay, and when we have parallel lines, there are some special angle relationships that we can figure out. Okay, so if we have, for example, so there are more than one way to look at this, but if we have this angle 35, for example, then we know this angle right here. Okay, so these two angles, they are equivalent. Okay, so in geometry, they are called corresponding angle. Okay, they're called corresponding angle. You don't have to know the name for these, but what happens if you have parallel lines, these two angles, the corresponding angles are always equal to each other. So this is 35, this one down here is 35. And from the picture, it looks like, right, they're the same, right? So they are the acute angles, okay? So they're in their corresponding position, so they correspond to each other. Okay, they're always equal. Okay, and for SAT geometry question, if they don't say the figure is not drawn to scale, you can pretty much assume the figure is drawn to scale. Okay, so it looks like they're the same. You can pretty much assume that. Okay, but if they say it's not drawn to scale, then we cannot make that assumption. Okay, yeah, so we know this one 35, which we can say, well, this one, see this one right next to angle 2, this one is also corresponding angle, right? Because you have two parallel lines, and this line going through is a transversal going through. So you see they are both in the top right corner of the two cross, right? So that should be the same. So they are corresponding angles, so that's also 35. All right, so all corresponding angles are equal whenever we have parallel lines. So that 35, then we can solve for angle 2. So what we want to know here is that angle 2 and this angle, the 35-degree angle, these two are called linear pairs. And linear pairs, that's the geometry term. But what happens if we have two angles, they form a straight line, like what we have here, like this is 35 and this angle right next to it. They form a straight line. Then this is a straight angle, and straight angle is always 180 degrees. Okay, so they form a straight line, we call them linear pair. And all linear pairs, they add to 180 degrees. All right, so we know 135. To find the other one, we can do 180 minus 35. Then that should give us the other angle, which is, you can do it in the calculator, it's 145 degrees. Okay, so D will be our answer. And from the picture again, looks like this is an obtuse angle, right? Angle 2. It should be more than 90 degrees. So obtuse angle. And the only one that makes sense is D here for this question.